But like, I feel like everybody tunes in to hear what Joe's going to say. And like, and then when I talk too much, people are going to be like, screw that guy. You ruined a week of STC.
STCPod and the opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the presenters therein, without any affiliation or obligation to any establishment, either real or imagined, even if they wanted it. Now, get ready and hit start to continue.
Here we go. This is happening. Welcome back, everybody. This is Bill from STCPod. Am I here by myself? Maybe. Did I fire somebody? I don't know. I can do a show by myself, right? I can just talk, free form, right straight from the brain, whatever comes to my mind about what's been happening. Don't need other people, hurting my feelings and, taking me down a notch, knocking me down. I don't need negativity, do I? I can do this. Can I? What?
Oh. I can't stay quiet any longer.
Oh, who's this? Who is this?
Sometimes I wonder who I am. Sometimes I wonder who you think I am. What am I to you?
Well, the other half of STC Pod Start to Continue podcast. I don't know if anyone made it to the end of our last episode, but
probably not.
There was something that happened there, let me tell you. And I don't know if you wanted to say anything, if you had any thoughts or
what are we talking about?
Regrets.
I apologize to you in private, and I think that's good enough.
No, people need to know what happened, what was going through your head.
I was just done. It was you were going on about what was it? You were giving some tips, and you're giving one tip, which was good. You were talking about the headroom, and then you started going on about another one.
No, it's all the same. It's all part of room framing.
Well, it was enough.
So you thought, Joe's done. I'm gonna let it known, and I'm ending this because this is a guy who spouts about respect all the time. Respect. Okay. Anyways, let's get that. Let's clear the air because we got a big show today. Big show.
Why? What's special about today?
Well, we're getting rid of Tiffany. So
getting rid of that red-haired vixen.
Yep.
Yeah, she's a siren, all right. What have you been doing?
What have I been doing?
Yeah, today.
Made a little trip to the Double V.
Yep.
Met my my nemesis there.
Does he look like you at all?
No.
I was just thinking maybe he could be like your doppelganger.
No, but how can he spend every day there? I don't know. But that's.
Can you strike up a conversation with this guy? At least do what I say. Follow him when he leaves and see where he goes.
He kind of gives me a dirty look, and he just goes about his business. I don't know. At least he's not picking. Although he did have some Ninja Turtle stuff in his basket this time, so that's something I might have grabbed if it was worthy. But he's wild. It's wild. I was there earlier in the week, and during my trip there, during my duration in the store, he was there, left, and came back, all in the time and space I was there for one trip. What's the deal? What's he doing? How's that even possible? How can you get enough margins to make a living or a business out of that store? Tell me. Tell me, Joe. Do you understand?
No, I don't. I was going to ask you though, where did you go today with that tweet? You said you put out, you found all those Transformers.
That was local comic book store.
Oh, Did
They're
you
going
reply
crazy
to
with
my
the-
question?
Yeah, I said, look in the picture. The prices are all
I
there.
couldn't tell.
Look in the picture, Mr. IT Wizard. Anyways, they're on my phone. We'll be able to expand them up when I get together with you, and you can see all the prices. But more importantly, our big guest has just dropped in. I see Ronnie, the limo driver, has just waltzed him down the hall. He's sitting on the couch. Miles, is that you from Flock of Nerds?
Oh, it is me, Miles from Flock Nerds. How you guys doing?
Excellent,
Good,
brother.
yeah.
How you doing?
Good. It's such an honor to be on like one of the best podcasts in the world. This is a huge deal for me.
Oh, the honor is all ours. I wasn't even anxious when Bill told me who was going to be coming on to the show.
I was anxious enough for the both of us, sir. I was like, oh my God, STC! But now I'm here.
No, let me tell you, with all of the new podcasts showing up in our community, we knew we're not going to beat them, so we might as well have them on our show, so that way we can steal some of the heat. And you've recently started a new podcast called Flock Talk, which is the darling of the podcasting community. Everyone loves that.
Yeah, I don't know why. It doesn't make any sense to me, but
Oh, it's a great show.
yeah, Catherine and Chris do the podcast with me, Flock Talk. And it's been getting people have been enjoying it. We just do it monthly, and it's kind of just focused on video games right now.
So
we're still kind of finding our voice. You know, we don't have like 120 episodes, is it? Something like that under our belt. So
this is the big 121 for us. It's crazy.
Yeah. Do you have a direction though of where, or an idea of where you want to possibly take it, or you just want to see where the flow takes you after a certain amount of episodes?
Man, we're just enjoying the thrill ride that is the Cartridge Club and all of this, the podcasting. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, the CC community's really been a great place. I'm enjoying my time there, and it's really expanded a lot. P1, P2, and Dean, and everyone else who's contributing has done a great job in helping it to evolve.
So, what kind of show is Flock Talk? Are you one of these organized players that have the outlines and the research and all that? Sounds like it. Sounds like you guys got it together.
I do like really kind of like we talk about what we want our topic to be. We have a month to plan, right? And so we just send each other emails and we pick something, and then each of us picks one thing that they want to talk about before we talk about the main topic, and then that's pretty much it. And we just kind of like roll with it.
That's the way. I have no idea if Joe's thought of even a single thing, any of these episodes. No talking.
But you guys have like this like perfect rapport. Like you have this like odd couple routine that you do every episode. So you just fall into formula and it's perfect every time.
All right. Well, tell me about your co-host. Where do they come from? Tell me the backstory. I want to know everything.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Catherine and I met playing poker at a bar. I like kind of ran poker events. I was like one of the tournament directors. So it would just be like for fun at a bar, playing for like bar bucks. And she went with her work friends after work one night, and we started talking. She had a comic book. So I was like, hey, whose comic book is this? That's how we kind of met. We hit it off. We've been together for 10 years. And Chris, I met in university. We both took intro to philosophy together, and we would talk a lot and have that kind of back and forth. That's why we flow so well when we're talking, because we did a lot of, we played Magic together, Magic the Gathering. You guys familiar with that?
Well, yeah, I wanted to get into that with you because, you know, a lot of us know you as Flock of Nerds, but you also have this other side of you where you're this god of the Magic community, this towering figure, this figurehead of Magic.
No, not so much. I I had a few, like my first channel was called Milo the Gathering, and it was like a Magic the Gathering themed YouTube channel, and we would it's hard to get into because it's a very specific type of Magic that we would play. And we did like tournaments, and we had like a top-down camera so we could do gameplay footage, and that seemed to do well. We were very much in a niche area of YouTube, so a lot of people who searched for something like that, we were like the only thing that would pop up. So that's how we kind of carved out our little area there. But I stopped playing Magic, and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to be able to work on a YouTube channel with Catherine, who didn't really play Magic. So we found this. We love playing co-op games and video games together. Like, there's, in my opinion, there's nobody better to play video games with than your significant other. And both Catherine and I love kind of the same type of video games, so super compatible, and it worked out, and we got to record videos together.
Do you still have like a majority of your Magic, I guess, cards and material, or have you gotten rid of all that stuff?
No, I keep some of it. I pared down when I quit. Because there's like a whole bunch of like garbage. Sorry, do you have like an eye infection? What's going on there?
No, I was just grabbing an eyelash. That's all.
Don't get distracted by Joe on screen. It's tough. I know.
Yeah, so I sold most of my stuff, but I kept like anything that I believe will retain value if I ever choose to come back.
Do you have something that's like, what would be like your most expensive item? Do you want to? You don't have to say it if you don't want to. But.
No, I don't mind. Joe Price actually is my most expensive item. It is no. It's I have like a cube. It's hard to explain. It's like a collection of cards. And the last time I checked, I valued that at about like 10 grand. Wow. And then I have one card that's 2,000. I guess that's the interesting thing to people who don't play Magic. Like, talk dollar figures, baby. That's what I want to hear. Money.
Did you see that community sustaining and that kind of value increasing, or where can that go?
Yeah, it's really a crazy thing. Actually, it's funny. Are you too familiar with Martin Shkreli?
Oh yeah, me and Marty go back.
Like
yeah, sure.
No, do you no? He's okay. He has nothing to do with Magic really, but he's like this guy who's into pharmaceuticals, and he bought a drug that people use who have AIDS, and he like marked it way up, and then he became famous for being like the worst person in the world.
Oh right, yep, I heard him.
Yeah, you heard him. So he was thinking about getting into Magic because the market was so volatile that he wanted to come in and raise all the prices like crazy. So it kind of says something about this game where that guy is it piqued his interest. The prices are all over the place, and I think that with video games, the market is more stable, and I'm having more fun buying and selling video games than I would Magic, because Magic, like, one day you could have a card that's worth $10. A week later, that card could be worth $2. The day after that, 10 cents, and then $50 the next day. Like, the market changes so much because the meta game changes so much. So it's harder to keep track of those things. But with like video games, like, I mean, Mario Kart Wii, that's going to be $20 all day forever, right? Like, I can't see that changing anytime soon.
Speaking of games, what are you playing right now?
Oh man, I'm playing the best game ever made right now. Let me tell you, it is called Yakuza 0, and it is amazing. Have you guys played a Yakuza game?
No.
Nope.
What system are you playing it on?
PS4.
PS4. Yeah, it's the only system to play on.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Yeah, sure.
Bill, what do you think of the PS4?
It's got crappy controllers. That's all I can tell.
Oh man, once you play it for like a day, you're gonna forget that PS3 controller or whatever you were playing before.
He's an Xbox guy.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
Yeah, but the Yakuza 0 is great. It's the first Yakuza game I played. You know Will from like Will and Pam?
Yep.
He recommended it to me, and I gave it a try. And it's great because they kind of started at the beginning. It's like a relaunch, so you don't need to know anything from the previous Yakuza games. And it's kind of like, it's hard to explain, like GTA meets River City Ransom. So there's no driving, but the combat is really satisfying as you beat money out of people. Which is like a mechanic that I love. I wish it was in more games where you beat money out of people.
Well, that's what Joe does to me most of the week when we're at work. So, well, everyone's always said good things about the Yakuza series, so it doesn't surprise me that you're enjoying the latest one.
Oh man, I highly recommend it. It's really long though, and there's like 30-minute cutscenes in it, which is ridiculous.
Get out of town. A 30-minute cutscene?
No. Sorry, 30-minute cutscenes. So there's 2 different characters, and sometimes it'll just like cut into a 30-minute cutscene. I'm interested enough in the story. Luckily, you could skip it if you want, but you kind of wouldn't know what you're doing or why you're doing it if you did skip the cutscene. So it is pretty integral to the story.
Well, I don't
anyway,
know if
I still like it.
I was going to say I didn't know if Joe was gone or not. He was frozen in a pensive state for most of that Yakuza talk. What was going on?
It's a good game. It's a good game.
Well, one day if I get a next gen system in about, I think we're down to 5.5 years from now, I'll check it out.
Garage sale?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so unfortunately, I keep up with your Flock of Nerds channel, although I don't watch many of the gameplay kind of videos because if it's a game I haven't played, I don't want to, lose any of the surprise of when I finally do get to play it. So you do have a lot of gameplay video stuff like that, and pickup videos. Is there anything else you want to expand the channel out to include?
That's a good question. I mean, we're always kind of changing and trying new things. The gameplay is kind of just what we enjoy doing. Like, I like filming, like I like recording the gameplay, and I like editing it. Because we heavily edit our gameplay videos so that it's like, I know you're like, both of you guys are like TV film guys, and like YouTube is a different medium completely. And we do a lot of jump cuts, which is something that you would never, ever think of doing in like a film or a TV show, right? But I just feel like it really works in a 10-minute or a 5-minute YouTube video. So, and I like the way it flows with jump cuts. And then that's kind of what we're into right now. We haven't done much. We started a VidMe channel, and I just started we just started doing like a multi-cart gameplay. So we're kind of just like playing homebrews and stuff on VidMe right now.
What the hell is VidMe? Why do I keep hearing about it? Is that something we need to look into?
It's like an alternative to YouTube. Generally, you get a lot more views on VidMe because of the way they promote people. Like they just put anybody on the front page. Like when you put a new video and you get like upvotes, it works kind of like Reddit, but for videos.
Oh, where if you talk about yourself for 1 second, you get banned instantly? That kind of thing?
Oh, I see you
that kind of Reddit?
History with Reddit, I guess.
Yeah. Or you try to tip people off to something cool you've seen and you get banned immediately. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good like that. No, you can definitely promote yourself on it. It's like Reddit, but they allow you to promote yourself.
Cool. Yeah, I do like the playthrough stuff I've seen you guys do when it's a game I already know, or I know that the plot is irrelevant. Magical Chase, did you do that?
Yeah, we did Magical Chase.
Yeah, that was a good time.
Yeah, I really like that game. I bought the Repo TurboGrafx card, which is kind of weird. Like, I didn't even know that they could make those, but I saw it on Facebook, and I contacted the guy, and he sent me a Magical Chase and a Bonk 3. Bonk 3 is one of those games that I never wanted to pay for, but I always wanted to play, so happy about that. What do you guys think about repo carts and all that stuff?
I think they're a good idea, more so for the really expensive games, like anything that's probably in the top 5 rated. Like
Little Samson.
Little Samson and crap like that for the NES or whatever else for the other systems. That you don't want to pay anything over like $500 or even 300 plus or whatever, right?
But I mean, like you're a really you're a collector, right?
Right.
I've gleamed that over a series of the STC podcasts that I've heard, that you like to collect things, Joe. And
Yeah,
so does that
Well, I don't have any repro games.
Okay, so you would never yourself buy them, but you have nothing against them.
No, like my Transformers, obviously I do have reissues because they've reissued figures, over the past 30 years.
Would you buy a fake Transformer of the? Sorry, I don't mean to turn this into Transformers and beer, but
yeah, I hear it's a good show.
It's about time the tables got turned.
I do have knockoffs of certain figures. And a lot of times in that case, it's just because the knockoff is either so distinct from the original that it makes it just fantastic to have, or the knockoffs have actually been produced better than the originals.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's probably the same with a lot of the repro cards too, right? Like they can create it with like a new save battery or something, which would make it strictly better than the original.
Yeah, I don't have anything against them. To, I guess, finally answer your question, I wouldn't buy them for anything that's within reason, but for the extremely high price games, I think that's the only way I would get them. Like, I'm not going to drop, $1,000+ on a video game when I know it's not going to probably retain that value.
Yeah. Oh, you guys think the bubble's going to burst? Or you just don't want to take the chance?
Well, I think everything's cyclical. So at some point it's got to go back down and maybe go back up. But that even goes like with the older game systems. You see people that are into Atari or, in television or anything really first gen. And that crowd is just thinning out, and the desire for those games it's not what it used to be, right? So I can only think the same is going to happen over a certain period of time with some of these earlier systems, right?
Yeah, I think that Nintendo might have shot themselves in the foot a little bit with the NES Classic, because I think one of the things you don't want to do as that company is showcase how playing a emulator is just as good or better than playing the originals.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically what they did with the NES Classic. They were like, look, you don't need to own the originals. You can just emulate stuff for free and it's just as good. I'm surprised that they ended up doing it. Really.
Well, they're just making more money off dead products to them. It's what the recording industry has been doing for years. New format, you re-release and make all your money again.
Yeah, but you're getting people used to playing an emulator, right? People can now emulate. Like, look what happened. Even on the NES Classic itself, people have put 700 video games on it from like N64 now is on the NES Classic. So they are shooting themselves in the foot, because now people aren't going to buy those games when they put them on their store for the Switch or whatever it is, right? Whatever comes next, their online store. I mean, you can just download them illegally. What's the point in actually purchasing it for the Switch if you can play it on your NES Classic?
Well, it's up to them to come up with another hook to make it more attractive to get it from the Switch virtual store. Adding multiplayer or lost levels, something,
Yeah, but like, how long is it before I'm going to be able to get an emulator where I can play Switch games?
Right? For sure. Yeah.
I wonder why they've never really gone along the lines of being or reissuing some of the more popular games in a physical copy. Do you think there's a market there for that at all, or would the cost for it just be too high now?
Like compilation discs?
No, like just say Nintendo goes and does a reissue rerun of like whatever, Little Samson or something now because they hear of how popular it is.
Imagine like Nintendo just comes out with new Little Samsons that
Yeah,
look identical to the original.
I would love that.
Officially
That would
licensed.
be amazing.
Yeah, officially licensed products. Would people not go out and buy it? It's still official. Though it's not the first edition, but
I mean, the market is so small for something like that, right? I don't know. Like if they did it, it would be in way less quantities than something like the NES Classic. It would be like less than one per store, right? I don't know if it'd even be worthwhile to develop something like that.
I think there's always the collector market there that gobbles up this stuff. You come out with a reissue card of Contra or something and gussy it up in some fancy metal case or something and add a dude or something, a figure with it, and slap the Nintendo seal on it. I think it'll sell like hotcakes. Not that Nintendo would be able to gauge how well their stuff will sell because clearly they're not very competent at doing that.
I think it's a little different saying that if they released Contra with a new character as opposed to reissuing Little Samson cart. Like I think there's definitely a bigger market for Contra than there is.
Yeah, no, I would go with the big titles for sure.
Yeah. And that, I mean, Contra's not crazy expensive. It's like, what, $50 or something for the cart?
No, but just for the general population that have forgotten about these things, who aren't collecting it, they're at Walmart, they see that on the shelf, and they go, oh, geez, that would look cool back at home. And they pick it up.
Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, you got yourself a classic, right?
I do, yeah, I have a classic. I didn't mod it or anything.
I was going to ask you if you're going to bother modding it or not.
No, I like it the way it is. Personally. I also got the Edge joystick, and I'm using it right now to prop up the microphone. So that's been pretty good. Glad I got that. Or else the microphone would be lower.
Yeah, Miles was day one with the NES Classic, waiting in line all night.
Yeah, right. That the only day to get it was day one.
Yes, it was. Did you get an extra controller with it too, or
no? They only had one extra controller at the store on day one.
Have you still been looking for extra controllers? Have they ever come?
No,
around?
I got this sweet Edge joystick, so I'm good.
I always see them in the store. No problem with those.
Yeah, I got one. I got a real good deal for you. Don't worry about it. Only like 1.5 times the market price.
Ooh, nice.
Good deal. The NES Classic is compatible with the Wii Classic controller. So you don't need a second controller if you have one of those.
But that's
but
what.
The way, sorry,
Joe just picked up one of those with his last pickup video. His big Wii package came with a classic controller.
Yeah, I was looking
good. That's worth just as much as the Wii, I think.
Yep.
It's like $20, right? The Wii's worth $20.
No, like you can flip a Wii for some good cash still. Joe, did you manage to?
Yeah, I flipped the Wii that I picked up. I sold it for $75.
Oh my God! Really?
And I paid $40 for it.
Okay, I just sold one actually today for $50, and I bundled it with Smash Bros.
I think the going rate seems to be around $60 because I had a bunch of offers for people offering $60 firm. But with everything that I included with it, I had to bump it up to $75.
What did you include with it, if you don't mind me asking?
A Nyko charger base,
okay,
two rechargeable batteries, 2 controllers, and 2 nunchucks. But those all came with the Wii that I bought, right? So
yeah, I didn't have the rechargeable batteries, but it had 2 Wiimotes, 2 nunchucks, all the cables and whatever, and Wii Play and FIFA and Smash Brothers. So maybe I should be trying to get more for it, but like
I think you could have got more.
I'm picking these up for way less, so I'm
Mhm.
assuming that people like I pick it up with like a full set of like amazing Wii games, and for like $40 or $60, depending on. But like those were the last two that I picked up, so I assume that the Wii's are like $20. And also, I don't like holding on to extra systems, so I kind of want to move them.
You don't like to have backups for your backup?
Definitely not. I don't have the
Okay.
space. Like you have a castle, apparently, that you live in.
No, that's
You
just
have,
Bill spouting off nonsense.
you have a wing of your house dedicated to extra backups to your backups. Is that true?
I've got a bedroom just for my backups. Yes.
Ooh, a bedroom for your backups.
So how does the hunt? How does it go for you, Miles? Where is it a daily thing? You're on the hunt?
Yeah,
Is it hitting the pavement?
I live like pretty much downtown Toronto, and there's a lot of people that I think like apartment people who don't have garage sales, and
Right.
they have stuff that they really want to get rid of, and space is an issue for myself as well. So that's part of the reason why I don't want to hold on to too many consoles.
Which like borough do you live in? Like when you say downtown, is it the
Yeah.
beaches or is it up College or
Like Midtown,
Midtown as in?
like Yonge and Eglinton.
Okay.
That's pretty
I hear you.
specific. But yeah, and then I work like right downtown, like heart of downtown. So I'm kind of like in that area at all times, and I can meet people on my lunch, on the subway line. So I can pretty much get a few deals a week, on Buns or Facebook, or that's pretty much the only thing I use right now, Buns and Facebook.
So you're always online searching out the deals.
Yeah, and then you know that thing that CJR always says, where it's like if you're at a garage sale or something, you go up to them and you ask them if they have games, or like
We don't
You
really
asked them
mention his
specific-
name on this show, but
Oh,
go
sorry.
ahead.
Have you guys? Are you aware of this person? CJR?
Oh, we're aware of him.
He has this technique that I kind of picked up on, and so I do that on Buns or on Facebook or whatever. Whenever I make a deal with somebody, I say, "Oh, if you have any additional games or anything else you're considering getting rid of, and you just be friendly." And the best deals are when they call you back or contact you again.
This
That's usually when you get like some really nice stuff.
this Buns, is that like a hookup site or something? What?
Ew.
Yeah, it's like Tinder for deals.
I've never heard of it, seriously though.
Okay, Buns is like it started off called Bums, BUMZ, and it was for people who are like really hard up for cash, and it sounds like I'm going somewhere else with this, but they were like, I'll trade you like a cigarette for a DVD or something, or like a hot meal for like a couple video games, things like that. Like it was like really like super barter, like low stakes. And you could only get in if you knew somebody, and then they would send you an invite. Since then, it's blown up, and there's you go to the website buns.com, and you can sign in even with your Facebook or create an account, and you just post stuff, and then you say what you're in search of. So I'm in search of video games, and I post, a bunch of other random stuff, comic books or whatever. And then people will contact you and say, "Hey, I've got TurboGrafx games. Do you sell the comics?" And then you make a trade. The one rule for Buns is no cash allowed. So you can't buy things. But if you offer cash to somebody in a private message, a lot of the time that's okay. But you didn't hear it from me. You're not going to put this online or anything, right?
No one's going to hear this. Don't worry.
I have heard there is like a bit of a seedy underbelly to Bunzo, where there's some sexy time being bartered about. You ever see any of that?
No, I actually never seen any of that.
Oh, come on now. No one's hearing this.
Sometimes if you really want the good TurboGrafx games, no, I've never encountered it.
That's right. Nothing a good disinfectant soap will take care of.
Yeah.
Have you gotten yourself in any sketchy situations at any of these pickups?
Oh man, yeah. Actually, I was okay. So one guy wanted a bunch of like my crappy Xbox 360 games, and I was just gonna like kind of upgrade. So like I was losing out in value, but if you trade like 10 $5 games for one $45 game, it's better to have the $45 game, right? Like if you're not going to play any of the $5 games, just because it's like consolidating for a better deal later.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And so like I was going to do that. I was consolidating into like a bunch of like decent Mario titles for the N64 and like Ocarina of Time. And I went to his apartment. I was like, I'm downstairs. Usually what somebody says is, oh, okay, I'll come right down. But what this guy says is apartment number, and I'm like, like, I don't want to go up to this guy's apartment. That's weird. But whatever, I go, I'm there anyway. I go up to the apartment, I knock on the door. He says from inside, come in. I'm like, oh, I hate this scenario. I hate it so much. But I walk in, and he's on his couch, and he's just in shorts. So he's like topless. And then there's this other random dude sitting right next to him on the couch, and they're playing Marvel versus Capcom. Mm-hmm. And he's like, your games are on that table over there. Just leave my games on the table. And I was like, okay, fine, whatever. And then he's like, hey, me and this guy are going to smoke some pot and play some Marvel versus Capcom. You want to stick around? And I was like, no, I'm good. I got somewhere to be, though. And so I was ready to leave. And the other guy was like, yeah, I just came in for a trade either. The other guy really looked like he wanted to get out of there. So I was like, all right, I gotta go. But honestly, that was probably the sketchiest thing I encountered on Buns, and it's not even that bad.
Sounds like you missed out on a good time to me. I don't know.
Yeah, the guy was kind of weird. Honestly, the guy was kind of weird.
You could add a full night adventure, coming of age adventure, right there. Could have kicked it off.
Yeah. Yeah. I could. That could have also been the last time I ever used Buns. Depending on how that night went.
I was driving down to work, coming down to Toronto, and I was carpooling, so I wasn't driving. I was just thumbing through the Let Go app, and I thought it was pulling from my area, and a ad came up for a Nintendo Entertainment System with about, I don't know, 8 games. The system all had its hookups and all that. One of the games was Darkwing Duck. Another was Super Mario 3. There's a couple others like Punch Out. I can't really remember.
Sounds like
yeah, it wasn't like just that Darkwing Duck. I was like, oh boy, I don't know.
What's Darkwing Duck at? I'm not familiar with the price of that one. Like 50 or 60?
For us, yeah, it's probably 50 north of 60. Probably for me at my video game store, it's probably at 90, but yeah. And I was really thinking about it, and I'm like, this might be worth. I'm not into the hassle. I don't want the hassle of picking up all this extra stuff and have to move it all, the stuff I don't want, because Kijiji's become a real pain in the neck for me. But I was him and Han. I think, I think I'm going to do this. And I looked at the map, and it wasn't pulling from my home location. It was pulling from where the car was. And as we were passing northern Toronto kind of area, and it was right smack dab at Jane and Finch. And my buddy in the car is like, oh, we could get there, no problem right now. I'm like, no, let's just keep driving. It's okay.
Don't need the Nintendo tapes that bad, huh?
No. Let's just get to work. I don't think there's time for that. Joe, what do you?
It was probably safe, though. It was probably safe.
Oh yeah, probably. Joe, what's your hunt been like lately? What'd you do today?
Do you mean if I've been successful lately, or
did you go out today?
No, today I actually.
What?
The little one was he's got a bad cough, so we kept him home, and so I literally stayed home all day and just sort of slept with him and watched TV, and that was it.
Oh, jeez. Any excuse.
I have not left the house once today. I was just trying to go through my head to see if I had any stories like that, but I'm pretty careful when I go out in terms of I'm really cautious of where I'm going to step into. So I try to stay like outside of apartment buildings or things like that. I'll go at any time of the night. Like I'll meet you at 4 a.m. if you want, but I'm not going into apartments or anything like that.
Yeah, no, you're usually pretty public area kind of person. And
and then when I'm selling stuff too, I try to really avoid having people come to the house just in case there's ever issues, or not that I would sell something with an issue without notifying
because
them.
Then they could just come to your door and
say, hey man, this doesn't work. I want my money back. So.
Well, plus there's a series of fences and hedgerows and guard shacks to get through.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of paperwork.
But I do plan on going out hunting tomorrow.
So you kept the kid home because he had a little cough, eh?
I guess, yeah, it was a bad cough. Just thought we'd give him a day home from senior kindergarten and just let him recoup.
I'm like, you're going to school. I don't care. You got to be throwing up or a fever.
Yeah, but
any of those two things, you can stay home.
That's where you and I differ, man. I'm a real family man.
Yeah.
And I focus on the kids a lot.
Focus on the kids a lot.
They take top priority.
I know. We all know. We all know this.
Do you let him play video games when he stays home from school?
Actually, I don't let them play any games, or video games, I should say. The only type of electronic stuff we let them use is we let both of them go on the iPad, usually about a half hour before bedtime, and then that's it.
Right on. Are you looking forward to the day when you do get to play some?
Yeah, absolutely. But I don't want to start them off too early so that they grow up like me, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, of course, what father doesn't want to play, games with their kids as they get older and introduce them into hobbies that I'm into as well, right? Like hopefully one day anything that I collect, I'm obviously going to pass on to them, and hopefully they can appreciate it too.
Do you think that you're going to turn him off of video games when you say, hey, check out this Koei game as your first game? Do you think they're going to lose all interest immediately into video games?
I'll probably hold off the Koei till they get a little bit older.
They're like, hey, can we try this like cartoony game? It's like, no. Nobunga's ambition.
Yes. You want to take over some fifes? Okay. Let's grow some rice.
This is what video games are.
I'm telling you, my oldest, she's wanting me to play Mario Kart on the Wii quite a bit, and she's just kicking my butt every time. It's really frustrating. Really frustrating.
I really like that Mario Kart, the Mario Kart Wii. I never played the GameCube when it was out. Like that was kind of when I wasn't playing video games. But when I played Mario Kart on the Wii, it kind of blew my mind because I was just used to the Super Nintendo one. I didn't play the N64 or the GameCube. So I was like, oh my God, Mario Kart got way better.
Yeah, I guess so.
But I really like it's so stupid because generally I hate shaking the Wiimote, but shaking the Wiimote from Mario Kart to get a boost while you're in the air is so natural to me now that I shake it when I'm playing Mario Kart 8, and I don't think that does anything. Or like whenever I'm playing any racing kart game, I shake the remote while I'm in the air. Does nothing almost 100% of the time, but I can't stop doing it.
No, she always plays like on automatic, so she doesn't have to learn to slide or anything. So I still consider her cheating. So I don't have to worry about too much if she's beating me.
You consider a lot of things cheating.
No, not at all.
I was going to say, Bill, is it a sad day when your kid can beat you at a video game?
Well, she spent some time at her grandparents' with her cousin, and from what I understand, they played it like for 2 weeks straight, every day, for like 6 hours a day. And so she came back home, And I was never that keen on the Wii version. I think I played the 3DS version of Mario Kart more than anything, or the DS version. I don't know, the nunchuck control, I don't know, it just seems too loosey-goosey for me or something. So when I get back to playing it on the Wii, it's kind of like a new experience again doing it. And she can beat me on it.
Miles, these are
I'll admit
excuses I have to hear all the time from this guy.
I know, like, honestly, I think it's time you get good. What you need to do is probably take a couple weeks vacation from work and don't tell anyone. Just, bunker down and, get good at Mario Kart Wii.
Mm. Well, I have started playing with the classic Pro controller, and that seems a little bit more. I like that a little bit better.
Man, that controller's sweet. I love that controller.
You can't do that shake thing. You got to hit like up on the direction pad or something. It's something different. So you got to learn the nuances of that controller.
Yeah.
Have you seen any good movies recently, Miles? Anything on the movie you want to expunge about?
Yeah, I saw a good one. It's called Yakuza 0. It's like 3 hours of cutscenes. No. I don't think I've seen any movies lately. Oh, I saw Hidden Figures. Did you guys see Hidden Figures?
Oh, no. That's up.
For
That's up for an Oscar, isn't it?
That's the space one, right? Or the NASA
yeah,
one?
it's about these ladies who they were all like geniuses, and they really didn't get the credit they deserved and the work that they did to put the first man into space and orbit the Earth. I think that was the big thing, and then eventually put him on the moon. But the acting is great. It's well made. Yeah, it's cool. And actually, Big Bang Theory, Sheldon Cooper, that guy, whatever his name, Jim Parsons, I think that's his name is. Yeah. I hate that guy. And he's in this movie, and he plays a character that you can hate. So,
oh, that's good.
Yeah, check it out if you if you want to see that guy and curse at him. It's worthwhile. That's like the only movie I saw that was nominated for an Oscar this year. Usually I do like this big thing. I'm the guy at work who does the Oscar pool.
Me too, Miles. Me too.
But I didn't do it this year just because I've only seen Hidden Figures just now. It wasn't a big movie year for me.
I get great scores on that Oscar pool, and it's my watch level is like 15% of the movies nominated, but I can still pick it out. Because I've been watching the trends. I know what's trending. I know what people are talking about.
Yeah. I mean, you can also just go to like the Vegas odds websites and if you want to game your Oscar pool. But yeah, one thing that I really enjoy about the season is that the TIFF Bell Lightbox will show the Oscar shorts for live action and animated. And I really like watching those. And I feel like they should be available, like Netflix or something should be able to pick those up because they're great and nobody gets a chance to see them.
Yep, totally. Sorry, do you have more?
Sorry. I always feel like that's my edge in the Oscar pool is the short subjects.
Oh, yeah.
Because I actually get a chance to watch them and nobody else is.
Well, that's bonus points when you score that.
Yeah.
Foreign film, if you manage to nail that, that's bonus, pure bonus.
Foreign film is usually pretty easy too to pick up.
Well, anyway, this harkens back to a Twitter conversation that happened earlier this week that I thought we could pick up on and steal and use for content for this show because I thought it was kind of interesting. You and a bunch of other people were talking about movies. I think we were on overnight, so I didn't get involved at all. I was just reading through it. Do you remember it started with Vintage Video Game Geek was talking about aliens and
Alien? I remember it only because like whenever anyone mentions Blade Runner, I have to step in because I hate that movie so much. But oh god, it's the worst. I don't know how you read Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep and then go Blade Runner. Like how do you make that jump? It's like a completely different thing, and
Are you going to bother watching the new one they're going to do?
Who's doing that? It's the guy who did Incendies, right?
Yeah, I can't remember the director's name. Who's the main guy going to be? Is it Ryan
Denis
Gosling?
Villeneuve? Denis Villeneuve? Sorry, Catherine she's right there. She's editing our podcast right now. She told me it's Denis Villeneuve. And I like him. But I don't like Blade Runner. I don't know. Maybe I'll give it a shot. Ryan Gosling's pretty good. Sorry, you were saying?
No, I was going to say that just Ryan Gosling's the main guy. So
Yeah.
it could be a good take on it. We'll see.
Yeah.
So, anyways, conversation started with the Alien versus Aliens thing. And where'd you sit in that pool?
I don't know. The first one. Sorry, I'm not like super up. Like I'm not super into the Alien series, but the first one is James Cameron, right? And then I don't know how I forget. Sorry, Aliens is the one with Bill Paxton where he's like, "Game over, man, game over," right?
The action.
Right. All right, yeah, I think I like Aliens more than I liked Alien.
Joe,
where are you going with this, Bill? What are you
I'm just
talking
following
about?
this conversation. I just wonder which of those movies you like better.
Oh my god.
Are you just going to end the podcast now?
Yeah, I think we're done.
Is that what that's happening?
I prefer
I upset the balance.
I prefer Aliens. I like the advanced weaponry that they used, and just everything overall through it was more of what the Alien movie was.
Yeah, like Aliens is the action movie and Alien is the horror movie, kind of, right?
Yeah. I like them both. They both have great merits, and the second movie you kind of know what you're getting into, so you know what the big bad is. Whereas
so
the
it's just
first
gonna
one
be less scary automatically, right?
Well,
because you already know you've seen it all in the first one, so now it's time for the people to fight back, right?
Well, the second one though, you didn't really know about the mother alien, right?
The Queen.
The Queen.
True. Yeah.
So that was sort of the big surprise in there.
Yeah. And then Rocket Sauce got in here, and he was going on about Ridley Scott movies are really long and have boring parts in them, and then Duke at Retro Nonsense. Where did Gladiator came into this somewhere? Duke defending Gladiator? Yeah, Duke said Gladiator was a good movie. And Rocket Sauce was said it was terrible, the whole thing. I gotta side with Rocket on this one. I hated Gladiator, and I always side
with Rocket on everything. Every time I see like a conversation with him and somebody else on Twitter, I'm like, yeah, Rocket's right.
Don't say that. Jeepers!
It's gonna go straight to his head.
Holy mackerel! Now, I'm a huge epic movies fan. Like the more epic a movie, more medieval, more extras, the largest sets. I love it more and more, like Ben-Hur or El Cid or Spartacus. And when Gladiator was announced, and what was to come, this massive epic in modern day filmmaking, and I hated it. I thought it was terrible when it came out. I thought it was overacted. And,
how did he win an Oscar for that movie? That's crazy.
Oh my god!
I mean, like, he won for The Insider, obviously, but like, I don't know, to give it to him for Gladiator of all movies. Ugh.
Yeah, all of the CG and the fake big armies. There weren't big shots of thousands of extras. It was all fake. I don't know. I thought it was terrible. And unfortunately, me and Duke, we line up pretty copacetically on all of our TV and movie watching normally. So that was interesting. And then so Duke throws Top Gun. What's he saying?
Oh,
here?
Okay. So is this what you want to talk about? You guys don't like Top Gun?
I'm trying to follow the thread of the conversation here.
All right.
I think Duke starts making fun of Top Gun.
Yeah, that happened.
Which
I don't love Top Gun, but I feel like Top Gun's very self-aware, and it gives you exactly what you would want out of Top Gun. I also didn't see it when I was younger. It was a movie that I was, because Catherine's really into movies as well, and she asked, like, it came up, and I was like, no, I never saw Top Gun. And she was like, well, you got to watch Top Gun. I'm like, do I really have to watch Top Gun? I feel like I know what Top Gun is. But then when I watched it, I was like, I'm into this. I like it. I'm excited. And I watched it all the way from beginning to end. I thought it was
cool.
Fun. It's like,
I mean, you get caught up in the adventure of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's not freaking Shining or something, but it's a fine movie. The movie I would like compare it to is, have you ever seen The Blind Side with Sandra Bullock?
No.
Blind Side is like the perfect example of a movie that you don't care about at all, but when you watch it, you're like, well, everyone did their job properly. This like there's nothing wrong with what's going on screen. It's just that I don't like. So what, right? Like, this movie was never for me, but it's good. It's well paced. It's well written. The acting's fine. The directing's fine. It's a great story. Like, but it's just it is what it is, right?
Well, I'm horrified by a lot of what's in Top Gun. A lot of it is complete cheese and really horrifying things, and this instructor that makes no sense why she's there. Anyways, it's got all this. But if you could do a Top Gun just avionics scene, I would pay money to see that all day long. As an airplane lover, some of their air-to-air cinematography is unmatched. So
really, to this day.
Yep, I'm going to say yeah, because nowadays they simply won't bother to spend the money on hiring out real jets anymore. So, all air-to-air stuff nowadays is all CG stuff, wouldn't you say? Am I missing something?
No, I think that you're right. But I don't watch a lot of movies like Top Gun. And I don't think there are a lot of movies like Top Gun. So it's hard for me to say, but yeah, sounds good. It just makes sense. If you were to make a movie now, and like Top Gun, you would just go straight to CG, right? Like it would just be way more cost effective.
Yeah. And then finally, Miles comes in with dropping the Kubrick card in this conversation. Now Kubrick wins against everyone.
Somebody else had made I think Rocket actually said, like, Kubrick, I know he's a fantastic filmmaker, but I don't love all of his movies. And I was like, all right, you're going to bring in Kubrick versus Ridley and Tony Scott? Okay, well, like, it's not even a question. Like if you talk about Kubrick, you got to talk about like Kurosawa or someone. Like, there's no equal to Kubrick. So I don't know I was going to say that's just me, but it's not just me. It's, I think, general consensus, right?
I think when it gets down to it, when we talk about movies before a certain time, directors created their movies for audiences that were trapped in a theater, and they had their attention for as long as they wanted them. So you could slow the pace down. You could tickle the audience's ass with a feather. I think that's and you could completely manipulate the audience all you wanted. They couldn't look at another screen and check a text message or anything like that. They were trapped in that in the theater. So as directors, it must have been, almost a high to know how you're manipulating and screwing around with the audience's emotions and what they're going through sitting in that seat. And definitely you can see Stanley Kubrick and Alfred Hitchcock, of course, just
that's totally who I was thinking you were talking about.
Great time with it. You just don't see that anymore. Like, Hitchcock versus Michael Bay, Yeah. Hitchcock with
what a world we're living in.
Hitchcock, his scene with a guy sitting at a table with a bomb underneath it versus the Michael Bay scene of the same scene. Hitchcock would have all kinds of reaction shots. He'd have a hand coming close to the bomb but not setting it off, and another eyes darting this way and all that. And the Michael Bay scene, the table would explode.
Yeah, the Michael Bay one would just look like a trailer the entire time. Yeah, I went to this amazing thing at the Lightbox with Guillermo del Toro, and he was there, and he did lectures on Kubrick every week.
Wow.
So yeah, it was really amazing. He loves Kubrick, or sorry, not Kubrick, Hitchcock. He loves Hitchcock. I think we watched. Is Catherine? Is that a Hitchcock movie? It would be like probably his last one in England or first one in the US. I think it's called Catherine. Could be
Really?
called. It's like a girl's name. Oh, Rebecca. Sorry, yeah. Catherine.
Oh yeah.
Rebecca.
Ingrid Bergman.
Yeah, Rebecca, and it was so great to like hear him do like a lecture about Rebecca, and then watch Rebecca, and then you pick up so many things that Hitchcock is doing with that movie, and cinematography, man. Back then, with black and white movies, so good.
Yeah, depth of field.
Yeah. I think that somebody brought up Tarantino as well in that conversation, and I would say that Tarantino's doing a pretty good job as far as choosing correct cinematographers to work with, because a lot of his movies look very good. Like they have a quality to them that is you don't see in film currently. Even Hateful Eight, you can say what you want about that movie, but that movie looks good. It really looks good.
No, I like that movie.
Yeah, I do too.
And I sat myself down in the basement with the lights off and no distractions for that entire thing. And
I saw it in the
theater, paid off for it
with intermission and everything. Oh
wow,
felt good.
I mean, and the screen, the frame was so wide. It's this devastatingly wide frame. It's just awesome. I love that.
They had the right print. They had a special print for that. We saw it at the Varsity. I forget. I'm sure you know more than I do about certain prints or certain film that it was designed for. But yeah, it was like a really wide screen.
Yeah, it was wide. What, 70, wasn't it? 70 millimeters?
Yeah, maybe something like that. I don't know. I'm not as keen to these things as you are, sir.
Oh, I think you are. Not as much as Joe, let me tell you. He's been chomping at the bit to jump in on this.
I just like hearing you guys talk about it. That's all. That's fine.
Mm.
Do you guys mind if I ask what your favorite movies are? Like, if you had to pick one favorite movie of all time, what would you say?
You want us to blow that at the back end of episode 121 of STCPod? Whew.
Okay, well, I guess don't share then. Well, give me your second favorite movie. How's that sound?
No, I'm joking with you. Of course, I'll tell you. It's. I'd love to hear Joe's though. Quite frankly, is he here?
I'm just thinking. I don't know if I can give you an answer at this moment.
Is it Revenge of the Fallen or Dark Side of Dark Bark of the Moon? What is
those movies are horrible. Come on.
Yeah.
All right, Bill, say yours.
Okay, I'll go. And this isn't in many people's top 10 or 5, probably not in the top 50. Probably many people haven't even seen this movie, but I saw it years ago. I was blown away by it. It doesn't get bogged down with, a romance storyline isn't crowbarred into it. And like I said before, I've just always been in love with epic films, super wide films with huge scopes, extras, far away sets, exotic scenes. So anyways, I'm a huge fan of the director David Lean. And as it were, my favorite film is Lawrence of Arabia.
Oh, interesting choice. I've never seen it, but I know of it, obviously.
I try to sit down and watch it at least once a year, and I always see something new every year, like something I didn't spot in a frame before. And it's just, I love it. It's amazing. Peter O'Toole's and Omar Sharif, their acting is sublime. It's just great. And David Lean films, he's probably got probably 3 of his films are in my top 10 list if I had to list them out.
I've heard you mention Lawrence of Arabia before on this podcast, so
Really?
I'm not surprised. Yeah.
Oh, Peter O'Toole is so dreamy too. It's just a gorgeous man.
Joe is shaking his head. It's fun to actually see you guys at the podcast.
Bill drives.
You know what?
miles.
You should make a Patreon where people can actually watch you do the podcast. I think that you'd make big money on that.
Oh yeah, big money, I'm sure.
I can appreciate Lawrence of Arabia because I have seen it and it is a good movie, but just sometimes the way Bill goes on about things just makes me want to bash my head into the wall.
Well, we've talked about transitions before, and there's probably no more of a famous transition than the one in Lawrence of Arabia, where he snuffs out a match flame and it transitions into a sunrise with the score building. It's
that sounds good.
It gives
I gotta watch it. I gotta watch it now. It's your favorite movie?
Come on over.
All right, Joe.
I couldn't give you an answer. I like too many movies to make one or even do like a top 5 list.
We can wait.
Tell you what, I'll think of it and I'll PM you.
Why don't you just tweet it out to the world?
All right, that's fine. I'll do that too.
Sweet.
Just so Kevin can get his 2 cents in, right? Stir the pot.
It's gotta be.
It's your favorite, though, right? Like nobody else can tell you it's not your favorite. Like you get a free pass on whatever your favorite movie is. Like if you did a list of 100, people could start critiquing your list. But I say like if your favorite movie could be your favorite movie because you saw it in the theater at some time in your life where it was important to you. Your favorite movie could be Scream 2, and like people can't get mad at you because you're like, you know what? It means something to me that doesn't mean to you. That's the way it is. I mean, Lawrence of Arabia is quite a special movie for a lot of people, I'm sure. But
I know I can definitely give you an answer in terms of probably the movie that I've seen the most. And for some reason, whenever it's on TV, not recently, but I would always have to watch it. And I have a copy of it, so sometimes I'll throw it in. But I've seen probably about 10 times the movie The Abyss.
Okay.
And for some reason, I can't stop watching it. Not that it's a great movie. I wouldn't put it in my top 5, but
I'd put it up
definitely
there.
It's my most watched.
I don't think it's your most watched. Your most watched is Forgetting Sarah Marshall. There's nothing wrong with that. But every time it's on, Joe has to watch it. And I'll watch it with him. It's funnier every time.
At work, you guys are watching Forgetting Sarah Marshall?
Wow. That or I Love You, Man. We've watched that together countless times.
Oh man, do you guys see that movie Role Models?
No,
that's like it sounds like I Love You, Man, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Role Models should all be together. But
that was with McLovin, wasn't it?
Yeah, and Paul Rudd.
Yes, yeah. So no, I Love You, Man. But
hey, Miles, are you doing a table at the upcoming Barry show?
Absolutely, I'm doing a table at the upcoming Barry show, and we're going to have some amazing games. Let me tell you, we have Evo on the Super Nintendo. We're going to have Rockin' Cats with the box. We got some nice ones.
Is there? Have you thought of a prevention or some kind of way to eliminate what happened at your table last time when Kevin showed up?
There's going to be a no Joe policy this time. That should maybe fix it.
There should be a no Kevin bullshit policy where if someone puts an item down on a table, it's sort of up for grabs then, isn't it?
Well, you know what? I actually have another copy of that exact game for Kevin.
He's got it since. But
really?
Yeah.
He told me he still needed it. All right.
Well, I think he bought it. I remember him saying that. He'll buy it off you anyway.
Nah.
It does beg the question that Kevin left in our forums over at the Cartridge Club. Has Joe played that title yet that he fought so hard over?
The title is Super Mario Land 2.
Yeah. No, I have not.
You got to get it back up first.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh man, imagine you took it out of his hand again at this show.
You got to have security cams set up around your booth, Miles, for sure.
I tell you, that Kevin just loves to stir the pot.
And will lovely Catherine be joining you in the booth as well?
Absolutely. I think she enjoyed selling games more than she actually enjoys going to it as a buyer. So she loved having, like, because I made a list of all the games at the table, and I had a price and then another price, which is what I would take for it. So she got that list, and then she could check off the ones that we sold, and she loved it. She had a great time, so she's gonna do that again, and then that way I can go look for those TurboGrafx games.
I was about to ask you, what are you looking for?
I don't have like a list anymore. Like I pretty much got everything on my list, so not really looking for too much. Yeah, the latest thing that I wanted was Haunting Ground and Rule of Rose, and I picked those up.
Did you get the Rule of Rose at a good price?
I got them both. Will found a deal for me. It was both of them. It's not a great price, but I think it came to like $325 for both of them.
Wow.
So it wasn't bad considering Rule of Rose is like $3 by itself and Haunting Ground's like $150. So
I'd love to get that Rule of Rose.
yeah, I haven't played it. I need a backup first, and then I can get started on it. But
crazy. Is Catherine there? Does she want to pop in and say hi before we go, or?
She's not. No, she finished editing the podcast and then she went into.
Does she listen to our show?
Do you want to say hi?
Does she listen to our show first of all? That's what we should figure that out.
She has.
Okay, I guess she can say hi then.
Okay, 1 second. I'm going to go get her. You guys talk about the Transformers that Bill should have bought you, but didn't. Because I thought that the deal was that, sorry to stick around, but I thought the deal was that you were supposed to buy him everything you saw that he might want.
I was.
Yeah, isn't that the case?
If it's in Joe Condish.
Well, we know that.
I saw those prices, Bill, now that you mentioned them out to me.
Did it zoom out?
Yeah, they're outrageous.
Or zoom in, I mean. They told me that they just bought 3 major collections within the last week of Transformer stuff. And that's why they had so much. You can only imagine what they paid for it. Anyways, it's all there if you want to come and drive up and get it. What do you think?
It's a lot of loose stuff, though.
Just think of all the content that would give you on the Trannies and Beer podcast. The number one trending Transformers podcast on the internet right now.
There's too much loose stuff for my liking.
Well, you see all the stuff in the back. There's box stuff in the back.
I don't know.
So finicky. He's so finicky. That's why the gravy train's over for Joe. I don't buy anything for Joe anymore. Try not to.
The gravy train's not over. And you've already broken that rule. You have bought for me.
Yes, I did.
And I did
my heart is too big.
And I did pay you for it. So now we're back at even.
No cash has ever changed our hands yet.
Because you eat it.
Hold on.
Well, that's not cool.
You make me buy you food, and then obviously your funds deplete out of what I owe you.
Well, that's not cool. Let's just stop this whole rigmarole because it's not cool. I need money. I think we got the team together.
Team Flock Talk.
Hey!
Hey, Catherine. Nice to see you.
Oh, nice to see you too. It's a little bit quiet, but okay.
What were you doing? You were editing some Flock Talk while Miles was starring on STCPod?
Yeah, I do all the editing for the audio stuff, but I wasn't done. I just was taking a break because it takes a long time.
She's got to go. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just like more of a perfect. Like I'm just nitpicky. So
Same with us when we edit. Let me tell you.
Catherine, you and I are in the same boat. Bill makes me do all the work for our show.
I burn out sometimes on the video editing. So like I started editing like Miles does. So I think earlier he was talking about just like smash cutting everything. And I would try to be a little bit more thoughtful about things. And now I don't care. I just do it. It's not that
you make it sound like I don't care.
No, it's just like we have different styles. I don't know if you can tell, Miles and I we both studied film. So we're not filmmakers in any sense, but we're pickier, I think, than maybe I don't know.
That's awesome.
I'm pretty picky, I think.
You get in the edit chair, and you can go down a rabbit hole of just trying to make things better and better, and you know.
But also we have very limited skills, so there's a threshold to how good we can make our stuff. So I'm like, I can be really picky, but I might not even be able to achieve what I want with it. So then I've learned to just give up on it and just make it good enough.
If you're even editing, you're already 50% above better than what anyone else does out there.
Is there any spoilers for the next Flock Talk?
It's coming out soon, next week.
That's not a spoiler.
Well, if I get it done, yeah. Are there spoilers?
I mean, you could say the topic.
Yeah, it's Miles just says sports, but it's actually we try to talk about sports games, but it's always such a loose topic too, right? Like the main topic isn't much of a main topic because any of the other things we talk about can sort of hijack the whole show almost.
Oh, yeah.
Not really. Like it's unbalanced. Like the main topic isn't like 80% of the episode. It's like maybe 40% of the episode, right?
And Miles gave us his opinion about how the show's going. How do you feel about it? Do you like it? Like the direction it's going, or?
Yeah, when we recorded the first episode, when we were finished, I was just like, well, that was a lot easier than I thought it would be, just because, we're all like, I've been with Miles for 10 years and I've met Chris very early on in those 10 years. And so it was just like, oh, this just feels like what we would talk about. I mean, it's a little bit more showy, like you turn yourself on for, but the conversations themselves, it's stuff we would just sit around and talk about. It's just more structured, and we're like, oh, it's very comfortable. So I think maybe that's what people were reacting like positively to, just the fact that we just sound like it sounds natural, kind of like a natural conversation. So I kind of like that because it feels like less pressure, right? It's time to record and we can just start talking about whatever. So I'm sure you have that same rapport. So I'm guessing.
We just fight with each other.
Yeah, people like that too, right?
I like that idea, the sports for next month. That'll be good. The Cartridge Club is going to have a sports title coming up, but they chose Tony Hawk instead. So, anyways,
it's an
weren't you part of that council?
Look at I don't want to get into any controversy.
Whoa.
So I just said my piece.
Pick their games. I thought it was just the brothers.
They go to whoever is the most handsome on camera and take his idea.
I'm sorry, Miles. You're never.
Okay, but you guys were going to tell me it turned out I won for the contest for this month on Flock Talk, right?
You'll have to listen to find out.
Nice, Catherine. I was going to spoil it, but
what a pro! What a pro!
Yeah, and that all was a big surprise. These monthly prizes, but yeah, Miles likes giving away stuff. He likes doing that on his Magic channel as well. So it's a fun way to interact, and it gets the people listening. So
we'll have to get Joe to give away some of his stuff, some of his Motion Monster cartridges and stuff.
Your stuff might actually have value. Our stuff, not so much.
Yeah, give away one of your bootleg Transformers every episode or something.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Well, sadly enough, I think it has come to the end of this hour. We've probably gone over the hour, right?
Yeah, by about 20 minutes. That's all right.
Oh, sorry.
That's what happens when you talk to Miles.
We, as usual with STC Pod, completely forgot to do our intro. So, Joe, do you want to let people know where they can find us now?
No, you guys can just check the link at the bottom of the show.
That's too much work for you, right?
Yeah.
To read that little script.
Yeah. Let's talk about where they can find Miles at.
Okay, exactly. Where are the Flock of Nerds, and how do people find them?
Oh, us? Yeah.
That's us.
You can go to youtube.com/flockofnerds. Just check out our channel. We also post our podcasts audio only there. You can also follow us on Twitter at Flock of Nerds, all one word. And Instagram, which we've never
we
posted
hardly
anything.
Use it, but we also have like Facebook, but our podcast is on iTunes and
SoundCloud.
on whatever podcast app you use should be able to find us, just Flock of Nerds or
No spaces, just Flock of Nerds, all one word.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not exactly sure how they find it, but Flock Talk, they can find us.
Cool, excellent. I also wanted to take a quick moment and ask everyone to please go check out our friends over at RF Generation. A lot of us use their app as a database for our collections, and this is the month of February, where they do a donation drive to help pay for all of their gear to keep it all going. So I think this will go up in time before the month runs out. So please go on over to RF Generation and give them some kind of donation or something. Help them out. If you use their app, or if you're looking for something really handy to log all of your collection, look for them.
I don't use it because it doesn't work on my iPhone.
It works great on Android. And there's a ton of prizes too that if you donate, you could be up for. Yeah, is it the Flock of Nerds model of giving away prizes? So check them out. And you can check us out everywhere under STC Pod or Start to Continue over at YouTube. We have a couple new videos out over there. And I want to thank Flock of Nerds gang for coming out today and making this an epic episode. Thank you, Miles and Catherine. Hope you had a good time.
Thanks for having us.
Would you guys do us the honor of signing us off using the old STC sign off?
Absolutely. This is quite an honor. This is huge for me. This is going to make my entire year. Post it and post it. But I feel like everybody tunes in to hear what Joe's going to say. And and then when I talk too much, people are going to be like, screw that guy. You ruined a week of STC.
STCPod and the opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the presenters therein, without any affiliation or obligation to any establishment,